Some of the examples of this that I love, Ken Burns, one of the most famous documentary filmmakers of all time. Most of what are in his documentaries is information that people already know. He'll make a documentary about the Civil War, World War II, Vietnam, whatever it would be. You're not necessarily learning something new in there, but he is massively successful, massively popular, because he's probably the greatest storyteller of our time. So even when you're taking information that people already know, if you can spin a good story about it, you get people lining up and they will knock your door down to listen to you. One other example of this are people who tell comedy. If you're a good comedian, like that's all just storytelling. And a lot of what a good comedian does is take something that's very obvious and simple, but you can tell a good story about it. You can make people laugh, and all of a sudden you get their attention and they'll remember it.
You said in the book, not the best idea or the right idea or the most rational idea, just whoever tells a story that catches people's attention.
I think there are dangerous stories, which is when people tell you what you want to hear.
Oh, I got a dangerous story. The vaccine gives you autism.
I think it's a story that people wanted to hear. Some people wanted to hear that. And if you tell people what they want to hear, you can be wrong forever and people won't care because you tell them what they want to hear.
Tali Sharot, who's a neuroscientist, sat here and she told me a story of Donald Trump stood on the debate stage, and they panned over to Dr. Tucker Carlson, I believe he's called, and asked him about the vaccine. And he basically gave stats, facts, and figures. He said, that vaccine doesn't give kids autism. And then they pan over to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump tells this elaborate story about a friend of his.
One person.
One friend of his, that clearly doesn't exist. One friend of his, and he describes the needle like this. He goes, this huge needle.
Yeah.
And he
so
tells
vivid.
Vivid, personal, and emotional.
Yep. And you get people nodding their heads to that and capturing their attention.
Tali said, I'm a neuroscientist. I knew it was wrong. However, there was something about hearing it that even as a neuroscientist, I looked at my daughter and go, fuck.
I think we've always been storytellers, and that's what's really set humans apart. That's the whole idea from Yuval Noah Harari, is that like what sets humans apart is our ability to tell and remember stories. And it's made it so it's just a tool to simplify facts in the world. Like most people, the other thing that's powerful about stories is that you remember them. And you think about in school, when you had a math test and the teacher just said, memorize this formula to regurgitate it on the test. Literally 5 minutes after the test is done, you forget it. You have no idea what it was. But if you remembered a good story, even that you were told when you were 2 years old, you remember it for the rest of your life.